Hey, everybody. Starting the live a couple minutes early today, just so we can make sure we realize with our email list that yesterday, the link we sent out was just taking people to the event and not to the actual live. So we're going live now to make sure everybody's all taken care of, and we'll make sure that everybody is all good before we get started. But hello, I already see a bunch of you hopping in. Make sure that once you're here, I see 28 of you already, 30. It's jumping up every second. More of you here. So thrilled and excited to see you. Tell me you're here, because remember, every comment that you do on these lives during the Educate and Rejuvenate book launch week is an entry to win a giveaway prize. And the only way to enter to win is by being here live, and you're already here live. So how easy is it to just comment quick? Just tell me where you're from. Tell me if you've been on a live with me before, if you know me, or if you're new, if this is your first time. I know a lot of you were on the Teacher Goals platforms. I didn't get to really do a formal intro yesterday because we started with a tech glitch again. So I'm Kelsey Sorensen. For those of you who don't know me, while I'm introducing myself, I would love for all of you to introduce yourself in the chat too. Let me know where you're from, where you're tuning in. And if you are familiar with Educate and Rejuvenate and the work that my team and I do here, or if you're new to the community. So as you probably know, especially if you're watching on one of the Teacher Goals platforms, I just published a book with Teacher Goals Publishing, and I'm so thrilled. It just came out yesterday. It is titled Educate and Rejuvenate, a 3-step guide to revitalize your teaching, renew your spirit, and reignite your passion for life. And I'm so thrilled to be getting this book out there. Hello, Amberly. And Amberly is living proof that when you comment a lot on these lives, you have a really good chance of winning, because Amberly was our winner yesterday, and she was a commenting queen, and she won. She won a signed copy of the book. Today, we are giving away a $50 Amazon gift card. Who couldn't use that? You can buy something really cool for yourself with that. You could even buy a copy of Educate and Rejuvenate and have money to spare with it too. Amberly's here. She says she's an ENR club member. Yes, Amberly, I know you. Charity is here too as well. Hello. So excited for all those who are here with us today. Okay, so one thing I want to quickly mention, the funny thing is we're here at the launch party for Educate and Rejuvenate. It's day 2 of the launch party. We got out the gate, hit number 1 in a bunch of categories with the book. And now today, Amazon is glitching. So right now, actually, for some reason, the paperback, you're not going to want to order it right now because it's glitching and the price went up and there's no Prime shipping. I don't know why. And it's not Teacher Goals' fault. It's a glitch with Amazon. So you're probably going to want to wait. This is me telling you that maybe if you want to grab the paperback, if you're wanting to grab the Kindle, you're totally fine. Grab it right now. But if you want to grab the paperback and you haven't yet, just hold on a sec. Hopefully it'll be fixed soon. Elena from Teacher Goals, she's like, maybe you want to reschedule your live. But I'm like, no, the show must go on. I was a performer long before I was even a teacher or a life coach or an author. And I'm like, no, show must go on. We are doing this live. Some of you are already planning on it. And I can still show you inside the workbook, even if the book isn't up on Amazon. So really not a big deal. Teresa's here. Linda's here. Amberly's here. Katie's here. Hello, hello. Love seeing a bunch of you here. Okay, so... and Megan from Team Educate and Rejuvenate, let me know in the private chat if, I guess you're probably just troubleshooting and stuff, but let me know if you need anything since I'm live. But, so let's see. Love you in green. Thanks, Andrea. Meta's here from Montana. Charity's here. She's an Educate and Rejuvenate lifer. That means she's a lifetime member of our Educate and Rejuvenate club community. But today we're celebrating the Educate and Rejuvenate book. And today we're going to be going through the PDF workbook here soon. I'm just seeing the number of people here climbing up, making sure everybody can get in. One other thing I want to mention before we dive in is that we are actually making a few little changes to this launch party calendar. So originally we scheduled our trivia for the 19th, but we realized you might not even have your book by then. So we are still going live on the 19th. I didn't want to take, again, just like today, I wasn't like, no, I'm not taking anything off the calendar. I'm still showing up every day I said I was going to show up. We're changing that to a live podcast recording. So it'll just be a podcast where I'll teach something from the book. If anybody has their book and is like, oh, you should talk about this part, you should talk about that part. Maybe even as we go through the workbook, if you're like, oh, I'd love for you to elaborate more on that. Anyways, so with that, Amazon hikes their prices for the weekend and drops them on Monday. Yeah, but it's actually an Amazon glitch because it's no longer showing on Prime, and actually the add to cart button on the app is gone, and it's like one offer from, like, as if it's like a third-party seller selling it. So it's like a weird glitch. I'm hoping it fixes itself really soon. Maybe like if we all like wish hard enough, it'll fix itself while we're on this live, but probably not because it is a Friday night. But it's okay. We're here. We're gonna have fun anyway. But so we're doing a live podcast recording on the 19th, and we're going to move the trivia to the 26th. And then those of you who already have your book and you're like, oh, wasn't that the day of the first book club call? Again, we're pushing that back too, to give you all a little bit more time to get your book and actually start reading. We don't want to overwhelm you with like, oh, I have to like hurry and read this like so quick or whatever, because we want your copy to show up. We know you're also busy with school and everything else you have going on. So we just want to make sure you actually have your copies and have plenty of time to get them before we do the things that you're actually going to need the copy of the book for. Okay, so with that housekeeping out of the way, I'm so excited for tomorrow, or not tomorrow. Well, I'm excited for tomorrow's live too. For today's live, we have a lot of lives going on. And I'm excited for those of you who joined us today, where we are going to go through the workbook that is included with your purchase of the Educate and Rejuvenate book. So when you purchase the book, you're not only going to get a physical copy or a Kindle copy if you purchase the Kindle version of it, but you will also get access to a PDF workbook. It is a beautiful PDF that I'll screen share. I also printed mine out. So I showed this yesterday. I love to print things out too. So you could do that if you want. And then you can like have it as like a physical workbook too, as well, if you want to do that. I know a lot of the people in our community, when we do our events and we have a workbook for that, they'll print it off and they'll bind it at school, which is great. Also, we decided that since we're doing a live podcast recording, we're going to give away a binding machine for that Thursday podcast giveaway. So that is where we're going to give away a binding machine. So if you're like, oh, that'd be cool to be able to just bind my own stuff, we're going to give away a binding machine to somebody who comes to the live podcast recording next Thursday. I'm so glad you bound it and laminated it. Yes, you have my personal laminator too, and we're giving away one of those. Oh gosh, which day is it? We're giving away one of those. One of the days we're giving away a laminator. Oh, your prints are blurry. I hate that. You know what? One of our printers, so I have one in my office, and it's just, can every teacher just say printers can be the bane of our existence sometimes? Like, why is it jammed? Why is it printing like in a weird color? Or why? I don't know. And it's like, it's printed, like my one right now, it's printing in like really weird and like not clear enough. And it's like as if it's out of ink, but it's not. It's like brand new ink in there and it's not working. My other printer. So then I had to use my husband's printer to print this out because I finally was like, I had it. Yes, you can definitely print it at a print shop. You'll have no problem doing that. And if for any reason they're like, oh, you need a copyright authorization. I don't even think we put a copyright symbol on it. So you're probably good, but we can send you that if you need it. We've done that before. So just let us know if you need it for any reason. Like it's usually Staples is the culprit of that, but we are happy to help you out with that, with the workbook. Links are working. Megan, let us know. Perfect. So glad to hear that. I do see the number climbing up. So happy to see that. Okay, printers and copiers. Yes, they're all such a huge pain, right? Okay, so today, again, we are giving away a $50 Amazon gift card for those of you who missed it, because a lot of you are just tuning in. So for every comment, I want to explain how our giveaways work. And please let me know in the chat if you are new to these lives. If you haven't attended an Educate and Rejuvenate live before, I would love to say hello for the first time. Who's going to be the first newbie in the comments? Say, I'm new. I'm new here. So excited to have you. Every comment that you do on this live is going to enter you to win a $50 Amazon gift card. So comment, answer questions, chat with each other. We love community. Ask questions about the workbook once they start going through it, or about the book. Yeah, just anything, or even just like, oh, I'm so excited to be here. Katie ordered 2 books last night. I love it. Woohoo! That's the teacher bestie bundle right there, which we'll share about. I shared it yesterday, but the more copies you April, yes! Welcome, April Rose. We are so happy you're here. Thrilled to meet you. And you're here on Twitter, on X. That's amazing. That's like a platform I don't really use much. So you're probably on one of the Teacher Goals platforms. I love it. I'm so glad you're here. Cynthia said her book is downloaded on her Kindle. She's so excited to start reading. It popped up on my Kindle the other day too, and I'm so excited. Amazing. So be sure to tag your friends too. That can also get you entries into the giveaway. Tagging friends. Every comment is getting you an entry into the giveaway. Okay, I'm just going to check my notes to make sure there's not anything else before I needed to screen share. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and share now. Sarah says not new, but hello. Yes, Sarah's not new. I know Sarah. we did a whole podcast and everything, so we're friends. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now so you can see the workbook. Okay, so let me all know in the chat if you see it. And again, as you do that, that'll get you an entry to win the $50 Amazon giveaway. So here is the Educate and Rejuvenate workbook. You'll see it matches the book so nicely, right? Just like they were made to go together, because they were. Perfect, you can see it. Thank you for confirming for me. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll through. So you'll see here, it is, oh wait, no, I don't know if you can see. It might be too tiny for you, but it's 140 pages. It started out as like 60 something. And then I realized, oh wait, but we didn't put an exercise for that thing I talk about in that chapter. And then we didn't put a thing for that. So it is very extensive. The one thing I don't want you to feel is like, wait, I have to do this whole thing. That seems so overwhelming. Like I don't have time to do all this, because I know that is the biggest thing we say to ourselves all the time, right? Like, I don't have time to do this. Like, I have to read a book and now I have to do all these exercises too. So I'm here to tell you that you have all the time you need to do this. You can set aside just, and again, I would even recommend maybe starting with reading the book and then doing the exercises, right? So maybe set aside 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, whatever, to read. And once you get through the book, you can start the workbook, right? Because then you'll have kind of the conceptual understanding of what we're doing. Or maybe you decide to like read a chapter and then do all the exercises from that chapter, because they are kind of laid out in that way. You get to decide how you want to do it. And that's the beautiful thing about it. There's no one right way. So just wanted to mention that, because you might be like, wait, that's a lot. But again, it's meant to be done over time. And all of this journey is meant to be done over time. So we've got, this is just a little note from me to tell you all the cool stuff you get. So you'll see it kind of, again, it goes through like in order. So we have like chapter 1. And also those of you who already purchased the book, you should already be able to download this. And I want to know if anybody has downloaded it yet, because I know some of you are here who have. So let me know if you've been able to find it, or if you haven't. I want to know that, because it is like when you fill out any of the forms, it should immediately send it to you via email. So if you fill out the form that's linked in the book, or if you fill out even the bonuses form that is like teachergoals.com/educate bonuses that you see on the bottom here, either of those should immediately send you an email with this workbook. And the access for the app too, which we'll be going over that tomorrow. So again, if you have any issues with locating any of this, once you purchase the book, email us at hello@educateandrejuvenate.com. Okay, so there's kind of some explaining too. So it kind of gives a little summary. So let's say you read the book first, but then it also gives you a summary of what it is we're doing. It's not the whole chapter. It's just like why we do this. And then this is where, because in the book, the first section of the book is to observe yourself, right? So we start with a 24-hour observation. So we take 24 hours to just observe our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, what we're doing. And we don't judge them. We just observe them and write it down. And you can print this page, or you can just do it in a notebook too. We just like, if you print out the workbook and you're doing it, you might do it here. You could also like with any of these exercises be like, oh, I don't want to use all that ink or whatever. You could just do this elsewhere too, but this will walk you through what to do. And then after that, we just have some questions, right? So but you're becoming really self-aware when you do the 24-hour observation. So, after that, you'll kind of be like, okay, I became really self-aware this day. And now I'm like, how self-aware was I before that? Like the type of stuff I'm noticing when I was really being conscious about it, was I noticing that before? So we just have a lot of journal questions to go with each exercise. Now, I probably need to go a little bit faster because if I spend this long for 140 pages, we're going to be here all night, which a lot of you know I could probably do, but I also should preserve my energy and all of our energy for all the other lives too, right? And I'm sure you all have a lot of amazing plans this weekend. But okay, I'm just, when you fill out your bonuses, it'll be there. Also, the email, it's in the app. But Kelsey said you have to download the app through the email you received, so there's no confusion with your account. Yes, thank you for your help with helping others, Mary Chris. We always appreciate you. Should have thought to print the workbook as it's hard to see on my phone. No worries. We will also put all these replays of the book club launch calls in the app for everybody who purchases the book, or members. If you are an Educate and Rejuvenate Club member, I know there are a lot of you here because you're so active in the chat, which I love because our community, that's what we do. But you will see it in the app too. You already have it. So all the members, you've unlocked all those bonuses basically already. Technically, whether or not you purchase a book, I probably shouldn't say that because you are going to want the book too for the book club, the actual book. But our membership members, we just unlocked it because we didn't want confusion with like using a different email or whatever. We wanted it all under your same account. So we unlocked it for you. Shh. Okay. You can't see it in the app. It should be under it's at the very bottom, the section that says unlock book club bonuses. For those of you who are not, though, you will get an email immediately when you purchase the book. Well, not immediately when you purchase, when you fill out this form. So purchase your book and then fill out this form, teachyourgoals.com/educate bonuses. And you will be sent the email with this workbook, and you'll be sent the access to the mobile app, which we'll get to a little bit today because it's mentioned in the workbook. We're going to do an actual app tour tomorrow. If any of you were like Amberly, she was saying I can't see in the app, just reach out to us and we will help you and we'll double check your account. Okay. So again, how self-aware do you think you've been to this moment? I saw someone say like, ooh, that's deep. Do you find that you come from a place of judgment and curiosity while observing yourself? So again, it's just a lot of questions, a lot of journaling. And what you'll find, because again, I have been in the past a little bit resistant to journaling. I've been like, oh, I don't have time for that. Or I don't want to do, I could just think about it. But what I find is when you actually take time to write it down, and especially if you actually do it pen to paper, like so much more comes up. It is powerful. And I mean, and I found this while writing a book too, writing a whole book. Like that was a journey, right? It really like gets what is subconscious in there. It brings it out. So this journaling is going to be really powerful. Okay, so lots of questions here. We're not going to go over each one. What I will do, though, is I'm actually going to, for everybody who purchases a copy of the book, so if you're like, oh, yes, I want to be able to do all these exercises, I want to get this workbook, I want to get a copy of the book, I'm going to take a little video of each exercise. So you'll and that'll be in the app. So right now we're going to just do a really quick overview. I need to speed it up here so we can get through all of it. Chapter 2, is it really true? So this is where we're really diving into our thoughts, that we don't have to believe every thought we think. And now I want to know, anybody here, has anybody listened to, I promise this connects, has anybody listened to Rachel Platten's new album that just came out like a couple weeks ago? Maybe 2 weeks ago? Maybe 1 week. I think it was beginning of September. Anyway, in her song, she has a song called Bad Thoughts. And one of the lyrics, I was just listening to it on my way home from a work meetup I went to today. And, oh, I forgot what the line said, but it was basically this. I was like, oh my gosh, that ties right into my book. It was like, bad thoughts. I know that it's not real or whatever. It was so good. She's the same person who sings Fight Song, who probably everybody has heard. It was like the #1 song in the year in like 2016. Anyways, listen to that song. It's basically this chapter, okay? It's about how we don't have to believe everything we think, right? So our thoughts can be divided into core beliefs, intermediate beliefs, and automatic thoughts. You can always choose to type it instead. Yes, you can type if you'd like. But when you journal, and there really is research back to when you write it down, but it's, so the song is Rachel Platin, I'll put it in the comment. Bad Thoughts. I really recommend that song. I just literally heard it today. Well, again, I mean, I'd heard it before, but when I was listening to it, I'm like, it ties right into the book. I love bringing music in as well. So I should probably add that like to the workbook too, because they have like a whole page that's like about things I recommend for processing emotions. Like her new album. I recommend that for sure. I'll just add it to that Amazon list. That's what I'll do. Because I have an Amazon list I linked that we can continue to add to. So that's what we'll do. Whenever I come up with a new thing, we'll add it to that. Yes, Hannah knows what I'm talking about. She's starting to put some of there's a thought that was in like one of the bridges or something. And I totally went down this rabbit hole here. Sorry, everybody. I'm like, it was on the tip of my tongue. That was supposed to be very tiny aside, but hopefully somebody benefits from us talking about that album. So here we're going to dive into what our beliefs are. So we have our core beliefs that are like, you know, what kind of has been ingrained in us from a long time, right? From thoughts we've been constantly having about ourselves or about the world, our worth, our abilities. And they're kind of what our automatic thoughts are based off of, right? Because if you have like an intrinsic core belief that like, I am not enough or something like that, then your thoughts are going to all come from that lens, right? So there should be a playlist for Educate and Rejuvenate. I love that idea, actually. Maybe I'll have to make like a Spotify playlist or something. I actually use Apple Music, but I don't know if you can share Apple Music playlists. Okay, maybe we'll have to make one on both. Okay, then intermediate beliefs. They're kind of the in-between ones. And again, a lot of this is like about content in the book. So you'll see I really do need to go faster now. Now we're going to dive into cognitive distortions, which basically a cognitive distortion is when we think something that is distorted. It's not quite true. And it's kind of, again, how we're saying, like, you don't have to believe every thought you think, because actually a lot of your thoughts are distorted. They're not even based in reality. They're kind of distorted. I mean, really, that word. There was another word I was looking for, but we'll just go with distorted by those, right? It's kind of like there's something in the way. And so there are 11 different distortions that I talk about in the book. And so we have journaling questions to go with each one. So there's all or nothing thinking. And when you read the book, you'll learn more about what each of these are. Overgeneralization, mental filtering, catastrophizing, and magnification. Now, can any of you, just from me even naming these, be like, oh yeah, I can already tell you I do that one. I can already tell you that I make everything sound like it's the end of the world, right? Who does that? Anybody here do that? Discounting the positive. It's like when, you know, like your admin is like, oh, you did a great job. And you're just like, oh, they just said that to be nice or anything. I'm not actually great. You know, like, you know, you just kind of discount it when really that meant something, right? Jumping to conclusions. A lot of us do that, right? Emotional reasoning. That's like, I feel like I'm so dumb, so that means I am so dumb. Or I feel like a klutz, so I am a klutz. I feel like a hot mess, so I am a hot mess, right? Like how I feel is reality. When really how we feel is most of the time based on how we're thinking or a dysregulated nervous system. And again, is subjective, right? So, but when we use our emotions to reason rather than our logical brain, that is the distortion of emotional reasoning. I'm seeing Pandora versus Spotify. We go in all kinds of rabbit holes. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to say thank you to a compliment, right? Okay, I see a lot of you here not commenting, though. If you want to be entered to win that Amazon gift card, hello, the 427 of you. Comment if you want a $50 Amazon gift card. Just say, hey, I'm here. Maybe just that one comment will get you that Amazon gift card. Mary says, welcome and enjoy. There we go. See, hello. So glad you're here. Okay, the next one is should statements, then unfair comparisons, labeling, and personalization and blame. Those are kind of two, but they go together. And then we're going to look at the difference between our thoughts and our circumstances. Adriana, hello! So glad you're here. Welcome. Latrice is still here. Love seeing all you comments. Sharon is here. Amazing. Katie wants the Amazon gift card. Yeah, keep commenting for that gift card. Okay, so next we are going to do our thoughts versus circumstances. So we are going to look at the difference between what's fact and what is subjective. And it sounds so simple, but it's actually a lot more complicated in reality, because we automatically do believe those thoughts, right? Like we talked about, you don't have to believe everything you think, but the reality is that our brain, we can't take the time to analyze everything, right? That wouldn't even be a good use of our time. We're thinking so many thoughts that are just fleeting all the time. And so we don't always take the time to do that, but we need to kind of slow down and pay attention to the ones, especially that have patterns, right? That are causing problems, especially those like core beliefs, those intermediate beliefs, and the automatic thoughts that keep popping up that are causing us problems. So we're really going to dive into that in the book. This workbook is going to help you actually apply it. Okay, so we have examples here. We have an exercise. There's a version of this in the book, but then we added even more in the workbook. I'm not going to let you see the whole answer key yet. You'll get it when you get the book and download this. So for those of you who are just joining in, I see more of you coming in. This workbook is included when you purchase a copy of the book, Educate and Rejuvenate, which you can find at this link, teachergoals.com/educate bonuses. Adriana needs some retail therapy after the week I've had. Totally understand that. And we're also going to talk about that in the book too. So we talk a lot about the things we use, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, I love me some retail therapy, but it's also if we are overutilizing any of those things, like retail therapy, or like, oh, I need to just get a drink, or I just, head to my pantry, or I'm going to just overwork or scroll on my phone, all those things. If we're doing that to avoid our emotions, they might keep bottling up. So that's something we actually talk a lot about in chapter 4 of the book, which we'll get to here in a second. So chapter 3 is the self-coaching model. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. It's not our circumstances, but our thoughts that drive our feelings, actions, and results. And then in this workbook, it's going to help you really dive into actually utilizing this, the 3-step process to coach yourself. All of it is here for you. There's even a little poster if you want to print it out. There's full page versions that we have, smaller versions if you're wanting to like just print them out that way. Just some examples of the power of positive thinking and journaling. And then we're getting into chapter 4 that I just mentioned, where we're going to understand our feelings a bit more. We're going to ask ourselves if we're actually feeling and allowing our emotions, or if we're resisting them, and we have questions about that. Journaling, when we're reacting to them, that's when we instead of actually feeling our emotions and just taking a moment to maybe simmer down if we need to, we react to it. That might look like, maybe for some people, it might be like yelling at their children, or getting in an argument with their spouse, or an example I did in the book was somebody who did a quick resignation from their teaching job. And then they're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Right. Or it sends this example here. Emily, a school counselor, receives unexpectedly critical feedback and immediately sends a defensive email to the administrator, which she later regrets, right? It's just like you're doing it out of emotion, right? Another thing that it can be, sometimes we think of it as oh, I did something I regret out of emotion, these examples. But other times it might even be one example that comes up a lot, especially with the economy right now, where I know a lot of people, I mean, myself included, where we're groceries are going up, everything's expensive. How do I keep doing everything? And they're like, I'm going to just start cutting all the expenses, right? But then you might be cutting things that's I cut that out of scarcity, but actually that really does matter in my life, and you're not giving yourself maybe you're I'm going to stop going to therapy or something, when it's you know what, that's going to be very detrimental to myself. But you did that out of emotion, right? You did that out of that scarcity, right? So that's another thing that can happen sometimes. And I'm not saying you can't cut expenses. I'm saying we do it from we want to regulate ourselves first and make sure we're not doing things that are at our detriment, right? Amberly, so glad she's getting the book. I love it. Being driven by emotions can be dangerous. So glad you're all loving the workbook. Good at resisting. I need this whole book. Yeah, a lot of us are good at resisting and ignoring, right? Avoiding is the one that tends to be the most popular. When I say, which of these do you think you do the most often? And this is what I mentioned, where we might be overeating, excessive working, scrolling on our phones, or And it can even be like, for some people, it's like obsessively working out, or like it can be something that's like good even, but it's if you're doing it to avoid actually feeling your emotions. That's how you know. Like if you're doing it to be like, oh, like I just don't want to feel this right now, that's when you're doing it to avoid emotions. And we got some journaling for you about that. And this quote I love: unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. So it just shows. Yes. So Mary asks, can you send the link to the book? So the link on the screen right now that you see, teachergoals.com/educate bonuses will take you there. And we can also pop that in the chat right here too. So it should pop up in the chat on all the platforms here, hopefully. That's the same link. The one that's educaterejuvenate.com, it takes you to the same place. Their link redirects to our link. So either way, you'll end up in the same spot. The only problem is right now, Amazon is having a little glitch, unfortunately. So I'm not sure if you're able to buy the paperback. It like the add to cart isn't working. And it says like it's almost like it's a third-party seller selling it. I honestly would probably recommend buying it when it's fixed, or buying a Kindle right now. That would be my recommendation. And in fact, if you want to buy a Kindle and a physical copy, I feel like this is a book that could be useful for that. But also, as I'm going to review with everyone shortly, if you buy 2 copies of the book, you double the bonuses you get. And the Kindle is what, like $11 or something like that, I think. And the bonuses that you get for buying 2 versus 1 is a lot more. So I'll show you that in a minute. Maybe support Barnes and Noble. Maybe that's true. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's working there. I kind of forgot for a moment that it's over there as well. So we could check Barnes and Noble. Megan, do you want to check? Megan, can you let me know in the private chat, the private admin chat, if you're able to check Barnes and Noble? Or maybe somebody here can too. That would be awesome. Maybe we should add the Barnes and Noble link to our page. Oh, yeah, we can show you how to turn in the receipts. Yeah, so it's just at that link, at that teachergoals.com/educate bonuses that takes you to the form. And then it's just a button. You click, I ordered 1, I ordered 2, I ordered 3, or I ordered 4, or I guess no, it's 1, 2, 10, or 30. And again, we know an individual teacher probably is going to buy 10 or 30. That's going to be you put together. We call the 10 a book club bundle. And the 30 is a school PD bundle. That's like talk to your admin, see if they'll buy books for your school, and I will do a virtual PD for your school. So those are the different packages we have available. I'll go over that here shortly too. Okay, so we have more. Okay, Megan's checking. Megan's checking for everybody on Barnes & Noble. Amazing. Yes. And she's popping that link in the chat. So you can definitely grab it there. Amazing. I'm glad only Amazon is having a glitch. So you could buy it from Barnes & Noble, and then you could do it right now. Yep. Yeah, it's Barnes & Noble. I think it's Target too. So if you're like me and you have a red card, you love Target. A lot of us do, right? So maybe, Megan, if you can check Target as well, so we can have some other platforms here. Okay. So we have, what is this feeling? How does it feel in my body? This is just something you can use like if you're wanting to journal about your feelings. This is just a good list for naming emotions, and like this is just kind of a list to help get you started. This is a guided practice to process emotions that you can read and just do on your own, or if you scan or click here if you're using the digital version, or there's a scan me here. It's going to remind you to fill out that form so you can get the app where I have an audio version where I've actually recorded this for you. So you have a guided meditation of this, and I see more of you joining. It just like popped up a little bit. So welcome everybody who just joined us. We are going through the Educate and Rejuvenate workbook that is a free bonus when you purchase my brand new book titled Educate and Rejuvenate. So this is, oh darn it, Barnes & Noble does say temporarily out of stock. It must be that same glitch because it's the same company. It's called like Ingram or something. I don't completely understand it. Luckily, Teacher Goals has been taking care of all of that. But they said sometimes this happens when it goes from pre-order to regular order. So hopefully it'll fix itself really soon here. Luckily, we were able to push back that trivia night, so we'll have a little bit more time for you all to get your books. So here is the Educate and Rejuvenate app. You'll scan, you'll get access to it. This is just some recommendations of things that I like for understanding our emotions, getting into our nervous system. We're going to in the book we talk a lot about how we can get really activated as teachers sometimes. And when you think about it, how many of you feel like we kind of went through a collective trauma altogether during the COVID-19 pandemic as educators? I really feel that we did. Like going from, out of school to back in school to out of school to back in school to these kids, like are behind these kids have all these needs, even more so than before. Are my students safe? Is my family safe? Like, are we going back to school? The whole mask situation, however you felt about that, all those things, like it was a lot, right? COVID is still a trauma today. Absolutely. Catch up has been hard, and it's still, we are still absolutely seeing the effects of it, right? Even years later, especially for the kids who like were at like a really pivotal time, which I mean, you could argue any time is pivotal, but I mean, these kids were coming in and they're like, wait, they should know how to read and they don't even know how to read and all that. Yeah, it is trauma. Like, and we can call it that. I feel like a lot of us are afraid of using the word trauma to describe our own experience. I talk about trauma a little bit in the book, but really it's just like any of us can get dysregulated in our nervous system, and it can be because of trauma, and it can also be because of short-term like stress too. And you can be stuck in a stress response, and we've all faced a lot of stress as teachers. And, even the stat that I shared at the beginning of the book that 44% of teachers say they're always or almost always burned out from the Gallup panel, or the one I've been using more recently, which was from our stories, which feels more accurate to me. It was more like 76%. Like we're chronically stressed out profession over here. And we really need to mind our nervous systems and befriend our nervous systems and realize that it is trying to take care of us. It is trying to make sure that we are safe. But we need to remind our body when we are safe, because sometimes it thinks we're not, even if we are physically safe. And so we talk a lot about that in the book. And we're not going to go over all of it today. But in the book, we go over that. We have a full chapter on it. And then these journal prompts are going to help you with that too, about like, when do you find yourself in each of these states? Because we all go into all of these states. Flight, which is when our body is preparing to flee from the threat, whatever it is. And, our body doesn't see that threat of like, oh, like I can't meet all these students versus a bear is chasing after me. Right. So, and when we flight, it's like, I want to get away. Oh, that should say fight. I just realized we'll have to fix that typo. Shoot. Okay. I'm like, wait, that is fight. Why does it say flight? And then I realized these both say flight. I didn't catch that. So, we'll make sure to get that fixed. Megan, can you make a note to make sure we do that? And we'll make sure that we get that. I hate when I catch typos. I'm like, dang it. I did look at that. I promise. But we're not all perfect. We all know that. So flight is the next one. That's when our body is preparing to, fight is like, I feel like I can take it on, so I'm going to try to fight it. Flight is like, I can't, but I do think I can get away. Freeze is when wait, where did freeze go? Okay. I should have caught these. This one is freeze. And it should be 3. I should have caught these. Okay. So freeze. And my headphones for my podcast dropped. No worries. So freeze is when our body is starting to kind of shut down non-essential features. We talk about that a lot in the book. And then there's fawn. Fawn is like a people-pleasing response. Like you're trying to appease the threat. So we talk about all of these in the book, and we have journaling prompts about it. And we will get those typos fixed and re-uploaded for all of you. So glad we caught those before any of you printed it out, though. But darn it, my copy. That's okay. You all know I was going to print out more copies too, right? Okay, so then it kind of has a lot of people have loved this visual, so I made sure to include it in the workbook. This is how the stress response cycle works. You'll learn all about that when you read the book. In chapter 6, once we learn about ourselves more by observing ourselves, and we start to befriend our nervous system, we start to notice our thoughts and our feelings, that is when we can start being more intentional. And that's what we start talking about in the second section of the book, which starts with chapter 6, which is taking back your power of choice. So we want to look at how we can empower ourselves, right? To do what we need to do to take care of ourselves. Because as we talked about yesterday, so many of us are wanting to take care of our students. We're wanting to take care of our families. We're wanting to take care of everybody else around us, our friends, our teacher team, right? Others in our building, newer teachers who you want to help, your admin, everybody. And so with that, a lot of times we forget ourselves in the process. And it's not that we're going to stop helping those other people or caring about those other people, but it's that we need to care about ourselves too. And in fact, in the book, I talk a lot about how we care for ourselves actually impacts how much we can care for other people. Because how we treat ourselves is subconsciously how we might treat these other people. Because what we might not notice is deep down, we're feeling some resentment because we're taking care of these other people more than we're taking care of ourselves. And there's just so much to it. You've got to read this chapter. We even talk about the notebook in this chapter. Like it's a good one. But we talk about both the validation we seek from others. Like we want others to validate ourselves. We need to learn how to self-validate. And then we also try to people please by doing what we think others want. So we want others to do what we want, and we want to do what others want. It's kind of like a little backwards, if you will. So we talk about that a lot. This is an exercise called the manual that is kind of you get to understand. Adriana says, if I'm not good, no one I'm supposed to take care of or help is good either way. Exactly, right? Totally. Oh, I love it. Love hearing about your little guys. So fun. So the manual is where we try to, we don't realize we're doing this. This is a concept created by my mentor, Brooke Castillo at the Life Coach School. And we basically come up with a manual for people in our lives. So we're like, a good admin should do this, for example. They should do this and that and that and that and that and that and that. And then when they do something against that manual that we haven't even like told them or whatever, or, you know, even acknowledge to ourselves, we get upset, right? We're like, well, if I were an admin, I would do it this way or whatever, right? So when we kind of actually write out our manuals, and we can do this for anyone in our life, right? We can identify, and I go through the whole exercise in the book too. I'm not going to have time to extensively go through the entire book on this live, but this is going to help us understand where we are expecting other people to do things. And when they don't, we just get mad. And this helps us to realize like, oh, okay, I don't have control over other people, and just really get to know that part of ourselves, decide what we need to let go. Right. So we're going to have this exercise, lots of journaling about different things. And then we want to figure out what is it you want, right? And so we've got some great journaling questions to like help you. And you might not even know, you might like start answering this question and then like more will come to you or whatever. And you can keep adding to it. You can always print more of these. Lots of journaling questions basically here. And you can also pick, like you might be like, oh, I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do this one or whatever. You get to decide, right? What it is that you want to utilize from this workbook. I really just wanted to provide all the tools from the book here in this workbook. So like, if there's something that really sticks out to you while you're reading, you're like, oh, I need to do and apply that one. Something in here will go with it, right? We made sure to have an exercise to go with the whole book. So in chapter 7 is where we start looking at the power of conscious thinking. So first we're just looking at what is our current thinking causing? And now we're looking at like, okay, well then how do I want to think? Because what does it actually want, right? Hello from Dubai. Hello. So glad you're here. Love the exercises. Hannah is co-teaching with a new teacher. Oh, here's a good example. We get along so well, but they asked me to do something that would take extra time on a day I just couldn't. I told them no and almost said yes, and then almost changed my mind to help them. But I'm proud of myself for keeping that boundary. Yes, boundaries are a huge part of this and part of what we talk about in this section of the book too. I believe that's in chapter 8, which we'll get to here shortly. But here is, we're going from unintentional to intentional models. So that is where we talked about the self-coaching model, that circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result. And we're now looking like, how do I want to flip that? Because the circumstance is going to change to the same, but what thought do I need to change so I can feel the way I want to feel, so I can do the things I want to do, so I can get the result I want? It's such a powerful tool. And the book will walk you through it. This will walk you through it. We've got the bridge thought and ladder thought exercise that'll help you work your way up to a more believable thought. So like, I'm terrible at teaching my kids. I'm learning how to improve teaching every day, to I'm confident in my teaching abilities, right? So kind of working our way up, and then you get to create your own ladder thoughts, creating your own. You can print as many of any of these pages as you'd like. Choosing your dreams and goals, right? This is where we are setting our, so the boundaries might actually be in chapter 9, actually. I sometimes get mixed up. You would think I would know, but there's so much I've written that I'm like, oh, wait, where was that? Where was that exactly? So choosing your dreams and goals is chapter 8. That's right. This is the whole chapter about goal setting. So this will walk you through the whole goal setting process. And the reason why we don't do goals until the second half of the book is because we need to get really clear on everything else before we set our goals, right? We need to see what's going on for ourselves, what we want, how we want to think, and then create goals. And this is going to walk you through creating 2 goals. I usually recommend one for school, one for your personal life, but you can do whatever you want. You can use it however you want. So this is similar to, for those of you who have used our planner, it's similar, but because it wasn't restricted to the space in the planner, we had a full page, we added more, and it kind of aligns a little bit more with the model. So I really do love this layout. So we have, and by the model, I'm talking about that self-coaching model, that circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result. By the time you finish reading the book, you're going to really understand that model. And this workbook will help you understand it more too. And you have time to not just me quickly scrolling through it, but extensively dive into it. So we're clarifying these goals, working the self-coaching model backwards. So the result is just literally what you want for the goal. What actions do you need to take? We're working it backwards. How do you want to feel? Okay, if you want to feel that way, how do I need to think? And then the circumstances, I set a goal to whatever you set the goal for. We're going to look at what's getting in our way. We're going to kick the obstacles to the curb. We're going to take the baby steps instead of just one thing, right? Baby steps. So you can be like, yeah, I did that. And when you're going to do each thing by, right? Habit tracker. So we have, and you'll be able to print we just put 1 month in here, but you'll be able to print as many as you want. So getting aligned with your direction now. We have a vision board toolkit. So I love vision boards. They just really help us train our brain to think the way we want to think. So we talk about that in the book. I don't know why there's a blank page here. We'll look at that too. The vision board challenge toolkit is also linked for everybody to utilize. Then we've got you creating your morning, evening routine, defining your boundaries. I'm going to go a little quicker now because we're at 5:45 now. Intentional scheduling. This section, yes, it's 140 pages. 140 pages. If I said 170 earlier, I might have. Apologize. I see Shar said 170. It's 140. So we have my whole process for intentional scheduling. We want to look at what's urgent and important, not urgent, not important, urgent and not important, not urgent and not important. And I break that down in the book for all of you. Then you're going to do your brain dump of everything your brain is telling you to do. You're going to sort those things out into these categories. You're going to break it all down into your time blocking. And again, this is not going to fit everything you probably need to do for school. This is just your full life calendar. And then you'll probably have a planner that you're using for your actual teaching days too, which we have those available in our shop if you need. And then we have the end of week reflection, where you can just reflect on how it all went. We have questions you can ask yourself if it didn't go the way you wanted. We have a time audit template. If you're just I cannot figure out where all my time is going, we've got a time audit worksheet in here. So you can really audit your time. And I talk about how to do that in the book. And then we're to the final chapter now, embracing your educate and rejuvenate journey. This is a lot about realizing that it is a journey and not a destination. There's not anywhere we need to be to become better than we already are. We already are innately worthy. We already are incredible educators, and we just need to take care of ourselves more. That's what this is all about. Bethany says she definitely needs a time audit. We've got that for you. We've got it here. So we're going to reassess our direction if needed. We're going to continue reassessing all of it. We're going to own our wins. I love this exercise for owning your wins each and every day. Writing your 3 wins that you had today, what 3 wins you're going to have tomorrow. Talking about community and how community matters. You recommend waiting to print until you fix the typos. Yes, I mean, I do, unless you don't mind the typos. I mean, maybe you don't think it's a huge deal and you can print it now, but we will get those fixed by like early next week at the latest. I know we're just all headed into the weekend and we've got some lives and stuff too, but we'll do it as soon as we can. Appreciate all your patience. I thought that we had caught all the typos, but we had not. Assessing the impact. Yeah, we're looking at our community. And then, yeah, that's the end of the workbook, basically. And you can, yeah. So that is the whole workbook. We did it, you guys. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen quick and share how you can claim it. So, oh, good question. How do you suggest using this workbook? After every chapter, you go to the workbook before going to the next chapter. Would you recommend to kind of master each chapter before going to the next chapter? I recommend, my general recommendation would be to do the workbook in order, unless like you're reading the book and you're like, oh, I really need to do this exercise right now. But you can really pick if you would prefer to like read a chapter and then do that chapter in the workbook, or you might want to read the whole book and then do the whole workbook. So like you read the whole thing so you kind of have that baseline and kind of understand like where you're headed when you're even doing the initial exercises. Or you could be like, I'm going to read chapter 1 and then I'm going to do the chapter 1 workbook. I'm going to read chapter 2 and then I'm going to do the chapter 2 workbook. So you can apply as you do it. So there's no right or wrong. It's really however you would like to do it. My general recommendation would be to do it in order though. Okay, and I did just get my winner from Megan. So our winner of the $50 Amazon gift card is Mary DeVito. So Mary, I'll put your name in the chat. Please email us at connect at, I'm putting it in the chat, educateandrejuvenate.com. Also, anybody can email there anytime if you have any questions about anything related to the book, this live, or anything we do here at Educate and Rejuvenate. Now, I did want to show quick. Okay, hang on. I got to change the screen because I wanted to share for those of you how to actually claim the stuff. Okay, so do you all see my screen again now? You should. So this is what the page looks like to claim your bonuses. So, and for those of you who might have missed it yesterday, oh, sorry, it is hello. Connect will still get you there. Sorry, Connect is the one we use for like our speakers and everything. Sorry, my brain. It would still make it to the right place though. They would just move it to the right inbox. Sorry about that. Hello at educateandrejuvenate.com. You'll be fine either way though. No worries. Thank you, Amberly, for pointing that out. It is obviously a Friday night of book launch week. So this is the page where you will find the form to claim all the launch week bonuses. So we have extra fun stuff this week. So when you come here, you will see that if you buy one book, you'll get and even if you just buy one book, you get the workbook, at video walkthroughs, you get to come to the live book study with me. Also, by the way, all of our members, that's already on your calendar. So you already have access to that too. $30 credit to the resource shop, free month of the club, and a book sticker signed by me to make your copy a signed copy. And then the 2 copies of the book will get you the teacher bestie bundle. So this is where if you're like, okay, I really want that workbook now, I want to be able to start doing that workbook, you could buy a Kindle copy, even though the physical is being weird because it sounded like even Barnes & Noble wasn't letting people check out, which is weird. Hopefully it'll be fixed soon. But if you buy 2 copies, that can be even just buying yourself a Kindle and a physical, or it can be buying one for you and a friend. Because the reason we did that is because we love accountability. And we do everything we can to try to keep you accountable. We'll send emails. We'll invite you to the book club. We give you the workbook. We give you the app, all of that. But having someone who you actually physically see, like at your school or whatever, just gives you that extra layer of accountability. Because I can't come to your house and be like, hey, did you read the book yet? You know, not the same thing, right? So this will give you an actual accountability buddy to get the work done. And if you buy 2 copies, you also get to do the exclusive Q&A night with me. Now, Educate and Rejuvenate Club members, you already get this too. But you know, but everybody else, if you buy 2 copies of the book, you're going to get invited to the Q&A night with me to ask all your questions in addition to the book club. So we'll do that at the end of the book club. It's $60 shop credit. And you'll get a ticket for both you and your friend to our Winter Educate and Rejuvenate event, which is normally $19.99. So that, again, you're just doubling. Like, you can get $60 worth of resources in the shop instead of $30, essentially paying for your copies of the book, and then all the bonuses and the accountability you get with doing it with a friend who the idea is that it's a friend you would physically like see, or someone you chat with, or would even text with and be like, hey, have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? We're both doing it together, So that's kind of the idea of the teacher bestie, right? That you have somebody doing it right along with you. And we don't anticipate most individual teachers will be doing this one, but if you're like, I'm gung-ho about this and I want to bring some friends with me, we have a book club bonuses bundle. And now I want to be clear, because we had some questions like, wait, do you have to buy 10 copies to come to the book club? And I'm like, okay, maybe that was confusing. This is for people who want to host their own book club. So you are actually like gonna bring your teacher friends together and do your own book club. And each of you, it could even be each of you buy a copy, but then one person is kind of the host and inputs the receipts or whatever. And with that, the host would get a free planner in the mail. You would each get a ticket to the event. You would each get a gift card and all of that. So it's just, and also the other thing that is new on this one only is you will get a PDF book club guide. So basically all the prep that I put in to the book club we're going to do, I'm going to get that to my team, and they're going to make a cute PDF. So you have all the questions and talking points to host your own book club and be the book club host. So that will be for anybody who wants to host their own book club and bring 10 teachers together. And then we have the 30 copies for the school PD bundle. That would be if you want to talk to your admin, get them to purchase copies for your whole school. And then I will do a virtual PD with your school. They'll get 5 planners to use for like incentives, or, teachers just who need it. $100 credit for each teacher. So you'll get a bunch of resources and things your teachers need. So if you are a school admin, a school leader, or you want to talk to yours, this is an option too. And with that, there is a form for it, but honestly, we figure we'll probably be working personally with you too. So when you fill out that form, to just make sure all your teachers get taken care of, probably even the same with the 10. So what will happen is you'll order your copies. We have Amazon linked here once it's working. And then you'll click on the button depending on how many you ordered. So if you ordered 1 book, for example, or I recommended 2 books, it'll just be a form and you'll fill it out. You'll put your first, last name. Yeah, it'll just take you through a few questions and we'll get all your info. There's an option for you to give your friends info, but if you don't have their info, then you can just reach out to us and we'll make sure that they get taken care of with all their stuff too. So I hope that all makes sense. And now you understand, because we did have some questions. How do we actually claim all this stuff? And then when you fill out this form, it'll get you the workbook and the app access if you don't already have it. If you're one of our club members here, you already have it. But for everybody who's new, a lot of you here would be new. We would love for you to join us and get the app and get all these bonuses. You will fill out this form. It'll give you immediate access to the book section of the app, where you'll get all the book bonuses and the workbook and everything. And then this form, the difference between this form and inside the book, you'll be linked to a different page where you could always, anytime, like if you bought the book a year from now, you'd still be able to claim the app and the workbook. The difference between this form is all those limited time bonuses, like ticket to our winter event and getting a signed sticker in the mail, like those limited time things. So members, so we'll send another email to you about bonuses and stuff. We are creating some extra bonuses for members, because we do realize that some of these things, a lot of these things are just for new people, because you already have access to it and everything. So we will reach out to the membership community about some extra things we're doing for you guys that the team is working on, if you buy the book. So, but I can't share what it is quite yet. Okay, so I think that is everything. Oh, the last thing. So here is for the book launch. So we have the ad event calendar here. So this will allow you to add all these lives to your calendar. Now I updated it here. It's supposed to update on anybody's calendar who already added it, but it takes some time. So what I found is like when I looked a few hours later, it was updated, but this will show you the most up to date. So we've got the live podcast recording on the 19th, the 26th, the trivia game. I know everybody's not going to be able to come to every live, but we love to see you wherever you can. We're going to have a lot of fun. There's a giveaway on each one. So tomorrow morning, we are giving away a wireless battery pack when we go through the app. On Sunday, we're giving away one of our luxury bound leather planners. They're beautiful. On Monday, we're giving away a teacher backpack. Super fun, super cute one. On Tuesday, we're giving away another $50 Amazon gift card. So if you're really hoping for that today, we're doing it again on Tuesday. And then we're doing a binding machine on the 19th. That's where we got to kind of plug that one in, that we're like, oh, we got to add that somewhere. Well, we added another live. And then the trivia game is going to be a wide variety of prizes. That's going to be a laminator. I think it's a lot of just repeats of things, just lots of different prices that we're going to have on that one. It's going to be a huge giveaway blowout, like another Amazon gift card, other stuff that it's going to be, where it'll probably be like the top 3 will get a prize, but then also a few random people who just come and play. So even if you are like, I don't think I'm going to win, I'm not going to know all the questions, still come and participate, because we'll pick a couple random people too. Just participation, right? Okay, but then if you're like, ooh, I'm going to know the answers, like I want to like be the number 1 person and get them all right or whatever, then if you're the number 1 on the leaderboard, then you'll automatically win a prize. So it's going to be a great fun. Where is the workbook? So that is, for one, it's in the app. Once you have that, Gloria, I think you're in there. So you'll probably find it there. It is also that form I just shared. When you fill this out, it'll send you the email to get access to the app. So when you come here and you claim your launch week bonuses, it'll send you the email and all the instructions to get into the mobile app. And I'll share more about that on tomorrow's live, where we're going over the app. Okay. Gloria, you said you couldn't find it. Email us and kind of share a little bit more about what's going on, and we'll make sure to help you get into there. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, don't see any questions. I loved seeing some new faces here today, or new names. Because I guess, I mean, your faces are teeny tiny, but so fun to see so many of you here. And all right, we will chat on tomorrow. You all know what I mean. I'll see you all tomorrow.